Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. Rabbi Abe here. We need to talk about the month of Virgo, one of the most important months of the year, and we are entering into it. So this video is not only for the new moon of Virgo also, but the entire month of Virgo. So anytime you see this video, the best would be to try to implement the things that we're discussing, because this is all preparation. Virgo is a month of preparation, but let's just go into it as best as we can. So we know what does the month of Virgo represent? Let's just start with the superficial, ideas. Virgo is represented by the Virgin. What is a virgin? A virgin is, complete, untouched, pure. I mean, that's what we might think of when we think of the concept of a virgin, unspoiled, complete. And this is the consciousness, if you will, of the month of Virgo. It is designed for, number one, communication, because it's ruled by Mercury, like Gemini, okay? They share the planet Mercury, Gemini and Virgo. And it is, Mercury is the planet of communication. The clearest communication is through Mercury, which is, again, Gemini. That's why Geminis are, good communicators, and Virgo. But the focus is, of course, absolutely different. Whereas Gemini is the big picture people, Virgo are small picture people, detail-oriented. In general, remember, no two signs are alike. There are many things that affect an astrology. That's for, an astrology reading. What we want is to understand the basic characteristics so that we can all use this month to the best possible way of our ability, because it is a month of cleansing to change the year. That's what it was designed to do. Specifically to prepare for the Rosh Hashanah, which we'll talk a little bit about. But even if one doesn't celebrate Rosh Hashanah, or it makes no difference, because Virgo, I don't mean to say it makes no difference, but the point is, Virgo can affect all of us depending on what we do and how we use the month of Virgo. Okay. So, again, what is Virgo? Virgo is a virgin. Its goal is to be complete and pure. That's its energy. And therefore, people who are born within the month of Virgo feel the lack. Every constellation is that way, but in Virgo, every constellation feels its own individual lack, because that means in that specific constellation, certain things are being filtered out. What's being filtered out in Virgo? Perfection. Again, from the perspective of the one who's born in that month. In other words, they see things in an imperfect way. They see what's not perfect, okay? What's not perfect, and I need to fix it. Okay. Not that I necessarily need to fix it, but they certainly do see what's not perfect. And therefore, what is known about Virgo people, they can criticize. They can be critical. I have my story about Virgos, because the other thing about Virgo is they tend to know everything. Okay? They tend to know everything. At least they feel they do. And so my story about Virgo, I used to work with a Virgo for many years. And, in our conversations, even casual conversations, he had one thing that he would say all the time. 2 words. What were the 2 words? I know. I know. So I said, wait a second, listen, one day I got fed up with the I know business. And I told him, listen, our teacher taught us many times that whenever you say, I know, you limit, right? Because how much more is there to know about anything, any given thing? And any expert in anything, even the greatest expert in whatever, makes no difference what the subject is. Is there nothing more that they can learn in that area? In other words, when we say we know, we limit ourselves, we limit our capacity to being able to receive more knowledge, more wisdom, more whatever, more. We limit ourselves. I told him all this. And you know what he said after I finished my whole recitation? He says, yeah, I know. And I'm like, okay, never mind. Virgos know. Virgos see perfections because they have this innate consciousness of a perfection. Things should be perfect. That means, again, most Virgos, now that there are exceptions to the rule, so don't quote me, okay? Most Virgos are quite organized. They'll also look quite, well kept. Everything is in place. You can sort of tell a Virgo, by looking at their physical appearance. Sometimes they're a perfect mess. That's also possible, by the way, okay? But without going into all the characteristics of Virgo, you get the idea that there's a need for perfection. This comes from the spiritual force or the energy, cosmic energy of the month. Why? Because energetically, from the perspective of creation, the month of Virgo was given to us as a month where we can prepare. So rather than look at other people's imperfections and judge them for it, which some Virgos tend to do, okay? I judge you because I see everything that's wrong with you, so I can judge you for it. Again, that goes for all of us. The month is designed for us to be able to see, if we're looking, see our own imperfections. See our imperfections, not other people's imperfections. Because the first thing in Virgo is we'll all become Virgo and we'll begin to look outside and see what's wrong with everything and everybody. Wrong. Get out of it. If you notice yourself beginning to do that, the first thing is get yourself out of that. Turn it inward. I want to see. The month of Virgo is the month to see everything that's wrong with us. Now, that's not true. We shouldn't be doing that too much the rest of the year. We should have mercy with ourselves. We shouldn't judge ourselves too harshly and so on. We should have compassion and, again, try to do our spiritual work. Sure, notice what's wrong when you do, but don't get down on yourself and, do your best to fix what you can. But Virgo, it's called a month of desire. It's like the universe, the window is open for us to be able to change things. In fact, it's the easiest month to change any character flaw within ourselves is the month of Virgo. And we need to remember this. It is the month that has the most mercy. It is the greatest opening. In other words, the universe allows us. It makes it easy for us. It gives us energetic support to be able to change things. Now, usually it's really difficult to change anything. But again, that's why I say the month of Virgo is designed for this purpose, to help us change. Notice what's wrong, change it. So, just a little more information. Why is Virgo so important? Okay. So we know the year contains 12 months, cosmically. 12 months, 12 constellations. The first 6 months, which begins with Aries, because Aries is the first of the physical world months, cosmic months, is from Aries to Virgo. So the first 6 months from Aries to Virgo are called male months. What does that mean, male? They influence. We're putting energy out. Okay? Because male is extension. Male is extension of energy. That's a definition of male force. Extending outward. So we're putting energy out. we're always putting energy out. But from Aries to Virgo, these are 6 male months, which means the energy that we put out from Aries to Virgo, and Virgo is the final month of the male months, we complete that aspect of whatever we put out there, good or bad. Okay, good or bad. We hurt someone, we're putting an energy out there. We do good for someone, we help someone, share with someone, we're putting that energy out there. We're constantly in the process of putting out energy. But cosmically, the first 6 months are the, how should we say, the measuring point of the energy that we've put out. Now, from Libra to Pisces are the 6 female months. Okay? 6 female. What is female? Female is vessel. Female is recipient, and female receives, is the receiver of all of the energy that we've put out in the first 6 male months, and there's the reflection, because whatever you put out comes back, okay? That's the way things work. What goes around for 6 male months comes around the 6 female months, okay? So the beginning of the return or the manifestation, the boomerang coming back, kind of, first 6 male months, the boomerang goes out. There's a 0 point, sort of when the boomerang is hanging in midair, just before it comes back. What is that? 0 point, or the 0 point is called Rosh Hashanah. Okay? The 0 point means an opportunity to create change. However we do that in Rosh Hashanah, we're not discussing Rosh Hashanah now, but the principle of Rosh Hashanah is to influence the boomerang before it comes back. Okay? And we do that with the technology of the meditations and prayers in Rosh Hashanah, and specifically the shofar, the blowing of that ram's horn, which has a tremendous effect on how the effect might be felt of our negative activity that we created not only in the past 6 months, but in every year, in every prior lifetime. Okay, so it's not limited to only the previous 6 months, because lifetimes are connected. I don't want to go into it. It's all connected. It's all one thing. Okay, that's the Rosh Hashanah. But as best we can, I remember my teacher said many, many times, many years ago, that if we were able to do, theoretically, the month of Virgo is so important that if we would be able to do the month of Virgo perfectly, whatever the work of month of Virgo is, we might not even need the Rosh Hashanah. Now, obviously, we don't want to bank on that. I would say it's safe to say we all need Rosh Hashanah. Okay? However, it's just to give us the understanding or the importance of what the month of Virgo is about. Month of Virgo is called in Hebrew a month of Teshuvah. Teshuvah. Now, this is a very misunderstood concept. One of probably the more misunderstood concepts. It's translated as repentance. Repentance. I'm sorry. And I'll even strike my chest to say I'm sorry. Really? Not so much. Okay? That's not exactly what it's about. Oh yeah, there are physical things to do, but if we don't have the consciousness of what it's about, it's possible that we can even do all kinds of physical things and prayers and everything and miss the boat. So let's talk a little bit about, and I'm just going to give you a couple of basic concepts to practice to get the most out of Virgo. What is the real meaning of teshuvah? teshuvah, repentance? Well, Kabbalistically, the word teshuvah comes from the word tashuv hey. Tashuv. Tashuv means to return. It doesn't mean necessarily, as people might translate it, return to God. Well, what does that even mean, return to God? Does that mean becoming a religious person? No, that's not the intention. What is the intention? Return to the hay, which represents return to the scene of the crime. That's what it means. Return to the scene of the crime so that you can restore and become a conduit, again, of God, of the light, of the Creator's light, because you may have created certain negativity which has now caused a blockage. Now you are unable to be a vehicle, a conduit for that light. You're missing light. You're blocked. You're missing energy somewhere as a result of certain human negative activity. So what do you mean, return to God? No. Return to the scene of the crime so I can remove the blockage that's blocking me from the Creator's light. Oh, so in that sense it's true, but if you're missing that little tiny nuance of removing the blockage, then yes, you are missing the point. So what is it? How do we do that? Now, there's certainly a lot of discussion about that, and obviously I can just share some basic ideas. But even if you do this alone, it will have a profound impact in your life. So this entire month is designed, again, to examine, our shortcomings, our negativity, all the ways and means how we may have maimed people, hurt people, insulted people, judged people, taken things from people, stolen from people, murdered people. Well, we're not necessarily murderers, right? We're not necessarily thieves, or are we? We can steal an idea. That's considered stealing. We can speak badly about people and assassinate their character. That's considered murder. Shocking to most people to understand that. We might embarrass someone by something we say in front of other people. Also considered a type of murder or killing. So, there may be a lot of things that we may have done. We may have not realized. We shrugged it off. We forgot about it. But you know what? The universe doesn't forget anything. In fact, there's a verse that says, and it pays to remember this, what we remember, the Creator forgets. What we remember, the Creator forgets. What we forget, the Creator remembers. What does that mean exactly? Creator. God, you mean? I thought God only shares. Yes, that's true. But the universe has in place a certain mechanism. This idea of what goes around comes around is a result of the mechanism of the universe, which we call cause and effect. That's not God punishing me. If you put your finger in the electricity, did God punish you? No, stupid. What'd you put your finger in the socket for? Don't do that. Don't you know how electricity works? Well, we might know how electricity works, but we don't necessarily know how the universe and energy works. So we may have our finger in the socket. We may have touched that socket very often without understanding and without realizing it. So, again, it's never about God punishing us per se. Is there cause and effect? There absolutely is. So the more we remember, meaning the more we remember, the more the system forgets. Meaning, if I remember how I might have hurt you, and I look back into that, and I try to even put myself in your place, and I maybe I need to meditate on it, and I feel the pain that I might have caused you. I feel the effect. I might have caused you some kind of loss. Whatever it is. And I feel regretful about that. And maybe I come to this realization and there's an opportunity maybe even to go to you and to apologize. I realize what I might have done, that I might have hurt your feelings. And if I did, I'm truly sorry about that. I never want to do that again. And if I come to that type of consciousness, in other words, I look at it, I feel regret, I come to the conclusion that, I put back. If there's something to put back, I try to make amends. And I come to the conclusion, you know what? I don't want to do that anymore. That was a mistake. I don't want to do that ever again. I have erased that energy from my movie. There's no more cause of, in fact, the opposite. Not only there's not going to be an effect, there will be a positive effect as a result of what I did now in the month of Virgo. So, the more I remember, now we understand what remembering is. Remembering means teshuvah. What is it? What is teshuvah? Going back in time to the scene of the crime. What we just said. Looking at the act that I did, whether with the environment, whether with other people, in a situation. I acted poorly. I insulted someone. I took something. I stole an idea. Whatever. Maybe you took money. Maybe you got money in an ill-gotten way. I don't know. Maybe you need to give it back. But we certainly, on the physical level, try to make amends for anything and everything with whoever, as best as we possibly can. So step one is going back here in our mind, going back to as many situations as we possibly can think of, where we may have hurt, done X to whatever, to whoever. Number two, do the work, make amends. Ask for forgiveness, okay? Ask for forgiveness. Now, by the same token, while we're talking about this idea of forgiveness, let's talk about what about if people hurt me? People did this to me. People did XYZ to me. Oh, well, as far as we are concerned, whoever hurt, did, whatever, and we spoke about this in another video, but let's talk about it here because it's very important. Forgiveness from our place, from our particular perspective, means release. Anyone who I feel hurt me, maimed me, did this, was jealous, was judged with this, that to me, I must release them and not hold them liable. Otherwise, I'm going to carry that into next year, possibly next lifetime. Again, for me, I must release them and understand, wait a second, did they hurt me? Was it really them? Or was it the universe trying to give me a message? Through them. Now, what they did, from their perspective, they need to deal with. If they come, they apologize, they don't, it's not my business. Good for them if they do, good on them. But if they don't, and especially if they don't, I, from my personal perspective, must release them. That's spiritual forgiveness. Spiritual forgiveness means I release them from any liability. This is a no-fault world. We are in this universe from perspective of karmic correction alone. And anyone and everything is merely a vehicle to bring me certain energy, certain messages for change, understanding, awakening, whatever. It's up to us to learn and understand what the message is. But don't hold the messengers in our life liable. Their soul agreed, we agreed before we came here. Now we forgot about all the agreements we made and the arrangements that we made, and we blame and we judge. How could they do this to me? And how could they say this to me? And how could this happen to me? And it was such a terrible situation. Yeah, well, if you're in that place, you're going to play that kind of movie. But when you begin to understand this concept of spiritual forgiveness, again, which is to release, this is something, by the way, we should be doing every night before we go to sleep. But certainly in the month, the bigger picture is the month of Virgo, is to expand on that to the entire year and any lifetime prior that you don't know about, you want to release everybody. Everybody. You take full responsibility on anything anyone ever did to you. You take the responsibility, because you know what? The truth is you caused it. You caused it. Prior lifetime, whatever. Or you just don't know. Because you don't know doesn't mean it doesn't exist. The causes always exist. And we are always the cause. And the proof is, if we weren't involved, we couldn't be experiencing a cause. So we were definitely involved. Okay. So I hope this is making sense. Again, I don't want to make it too long. Here's the basic steps of the process. First, understand the need for teshuvah, the need for going back. So teshuvah means go back. Go back to the scene of the crime. Step one, which is go back means look back. Look back into the past and go back to the situation. So I have it. Step one, look back. Step two, go back. Look back, scan the area, look where I goofed. Go back into the situation. That's what it means go back. Go back into that situation. Number three, payback. Payback, which means fix it. However you need to fix it, do your best to fix the situation. Whatever it means. Spiritual forgiveness, which you understand what that means. Go back a few minutes in the video. Replay it over and over again till we get the idea in our head. Payback, which means shift your consciousness, number one. Number two, payback, whatever it is, do whatever needs to be done. Shift your consciousness in the sense of, I agree, I don't want to do that anymore. I realize how I hurt the person. I put myself in their shoes or whatever it is. Fix it physically if you can, if there's a need, whatever. Even if it was 20 years ago. I know people, their entire life changes because in this exercise, they went back 20 years and realized that there's something they said to somebody, and from their heart, they really felt bad about it. Now, having a realization, and phoned them up and said, you know what, I know this sounds crazy, but you know what, it's before this, or I'm working on myself, whatever, and I come to realize that I hurt you, and I'm really sorry. If it means anything to you now, I don't know, but I just wanted you to know how I felt, how poorly, how bad I felt that I did that. You know what? That has a power to retroactively, over a 20-year period. I mean, it says there's no force greater than tshuva. There's nothing that stands before this principle of teshuvah. Again, the spiritual concept of going back and fixing our past. In the Zohar, it says that the angels asked the Creator, what are you going to create man for? He's just going to make you angry, and, what's the point? And again, this is a quote. The Creator answered the angels, but I created teshuvah. I created this process before I created man. Now, what does that actually mean? And the real meaning is really very profound. That the entire purpose of our existence is only for tshuva. It's only for going back and fixing our mistakes. Why? Does that mean we're supposed to make mistakes? Yes! Don't feel bad about your mistakes. You were supposed to make those mistakes. Why? Never think you're perfect. You're not. None of us are. We will all make mistakes, and we're supposed to make them. But then we're supposed to fix them. Why? Because all the spiritual light is within the process of fixing our past mistakes. Very important to remember. Again, none of us are here to be perfect. That's not the reason why we're here. We are here to be imperfect and to make mistakes. Don't feel, bad or get down on yourself for making a mistake. The purpose of getting down, not getting down in that sense, but looking back and feeling remorse, is to help us to do something about it. Not to say, oh, I'm such a bad, terrible person. No. Our essence, all of us, are good. We make mistakes? Yes. The purpose of the mistakes is to correct them. And when we correct them, we create an abundance of light. Because the one who came here perfect actually has no light. There's no light to do. There's nothing to do. So why'd you come? That's why, when we say good people suffer, it's because you don't understand what you're doing here. A good person doesn't mean, I pay my taxes on time and I'm good. I help when I can. No, it's to go outside and look at what you're not doing, or what you're doing that you need to stop doing. Even good people need to change and shift and do tshuva. They just have to realize what it is. It can be very subtle, like worrying too much, not trusting. These are all, sins of consciousness. We have many of those as well. So, again, in short, this month, again, I'll give you the 3 steps of tshuva. Again, first, look back, look at the situation, scan, find the situations. Go back into the specifics of each situation as best as you can. Remember, the more you remember, the more the universe forgets, which means you wipe it out and there's not going to be an effect, not only not an effect, but a positive result as a result. Payback in whichever way is necessary, shift of consciousness, physical action, whatever's necessary. And go forward, because all that enables us to move forward and go to the next higher stage and create amazing things for the next year. Of course, Rosh Hashanah is the ultimate tool, which if we do the work in the month of Virgo, well, then Rosh Hashanah should be a breeze. Then we can gather all the light that comes from what we call Bina, the life force for, the most important things in our life, like, years of life and health, happiness, relationships and sustenance, money, and all the things that we are drawing down in the Rosh Hashanah. But we'll get there. Be blessed, everyone. Thank you for watching. All the best. And I'll see you very soon on the next video. Be blessed.